Hi class! This is Miss Huang.
And this is Mr. Dolphin.
Today we are going to multiply decimals by decimals. The learning objective for today is
I can fluently multiply multi-digit decimals.
Let's start off with vocabulary. Look at the left-hand side of your notes. The first vocabulary word that you see is product. It is an answer to a multiplication problem. Now let's look at the key concept to the right. Today's key concept: when you multiply decimals, you place a decimal point in the product. Find the sum of the number of decimal places in each factor. That was so much easier.
Well, thanks to my idea. Anyways, for example, if I had this factor, 1 and 23/100ths, and I was going to multiply it with another factor, which was 4 and 57/100ths, what I want to do is I want to take a look at how many place values I have behind the decimal. So in the first factor, 1 and 23/100ths, I have 2 place value spots behind the decimal. In the second factor, I have 2 place value spots behind the decimal as well. So what that means is when you find your product, you're going to add up the total number of place values that I have total. So this would be a total of 4 place values. And for your answer in your product, you would take that amount and move it over 4 spaces to the left. And that is the location of your decimal.
Okay, let's start our first example. Let's estimate. 3.6, if you think of money, is about $4. 0.05, 5 cents, would be about 0. If you multiply 4 times 0, you will get 0. To get the precise answer, let's look at the grid to the right side, and we're going to write 3.6. Multiply that by 0.05. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. Now we're going to look at the place values. 3.6 has 1 place value. PV stands for place value. 0.05 has 2 place values. So on our answer, starting from the very right, we move it once and 2 more times and place our decimal right there, because 1 plus 2 would be 3, and we would have to move it 3 place values. So our answer would be 0.180 or 0.18. Both answers would be correct.
Alright, so for example number 2, it says find 112 thousandths times 7 and 2/10. So I'm going to estimate first. If I think of 112 thousandths as money, I'm going to take a look at these 2 decimal places, and it's close to 11 cents. 11 cents is close to $0. If I look at $7.20 and I want to round that to the nearest whole dollar, that's close to $7. So if I multiply 7 times 0, my answer is going to be 0. So it's going to be approximately close to 0. It's not equal to 0, but around that. So that's the estimated answer. If I want to find the precise answer, I'm going to go ahead and multiply it just like how this example is showing. So I'm going to start from the right. I'm going to do 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 times 1, which is 2. Another 2 times 1, which is 2 as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and move over to the 7 and say 7 times 2, which is 14, So put the 4 here and carry the 1 up here. So 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 7 times 1 is 7. Now I'm going to add it now. So 4, drop it down. 4 plus 2 is 6. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. That becomes a 8. Now I can't say that I'm done with my answer because I have to take a look at my place values. In the first factor, I have 1, 2, 3 place value spots. In the second factor, I have 1 place value spots. So if I add them together, there's a total of 4 place value spots. So in my answer, I'm going to start from the far right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in this empty spot, I can just annex a 0. Now my answer is relatively close to 0. So let's now pause the video, complete these got it problems, and then play it back for some feedback.
Now pause this video, complete the got it problems, and play it back to get some feedback.
Example 5 is a word problem, and it says a certain car can travel 28 and 45 miles in 1 gallon of gasoline. The gasoline tank can hold 11 and 5/10 gallons. How many miles can this car travel on a full tank of gas? Justify your response. So like the other problems, what I want to do first is I want to estimate. $28.45. To make my life easier, I want to round it to the nearest $10. So 28 bucks, it's close to $30. And then $11.50, that is close to $10. So I can multiply 30 times 10. We know my answer is going to be about 300. Not exactly 300, but about 300. The reason why I chose multiplication is because the problem says 1 gallon of gasoline can move a car 28 and 45 miles. The problem is telling me I want 11.5 miles, so you just multiply the two. So now that I have my estimated answer, I'm going to take some time to find my accurate answer. So I'm going to take 28 and 45 hundredths. And I'm going to multiply it with 11 and 5/10. So I'm going to multiply this. 5 times 5 becomes 25. Carry over the 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. And 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Okay? Now I'm going to start with this column. 1 times 5 gets me 5. Now remember, you're going to either put a 0 or an X in this place value column. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 2 is 2. Let's go ahead and talk about our last row. Now look, if I'm moved over twice here, I want to make sure I'm putting 2 zeros. So now I'm going to do 1 times 5, which is 5. 1 times 4, 4. 1 times 8, 8. And 1 times 2 is 2. So now let's go ahead and add up our answer. 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. 5 plus 4 is 9. Add another 2. That becomes 11. Let's carry over the 1. 8 plus 4 is 12. Plus another 4 is 16. Plus 1 is 17. Carry over the 1. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. Plus another 1 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So that answer looks like a very big number, and it's nowhere near my 300 estimate. What I can do is I can take a look at my first factor. My first factor says I have 2 place values behind the decimal. So 2 place values. My second factor says I have 1 place values behind the decimal, so that's 1 place value. So the total with 1 plus 2 is 3 place values. So let's just make sure we move over our place value 3 times. So now my final answer is 327 and 175 thousandths miles.
Congratulations!
You have just completed this lesson.
We want to know, how do you feel after completing this lesson?
Please let us know.